Today, we are talking about digital nomads. That's people who work remotely in coffee shops, co-working spaces, or even the beach. More and more people are ditching their 9-to-5 jobs for this lifestyle, which allows them to travel the world while making a living. In fact, one survey found that 23% of millennials and Gen Z would rather be a digital nomad than have a traditional job. In TSB, though, we'll be hearing stories from real digital nomads who are doing exactly that. These stories are unfiltered and straight from the source. You'll hear about their experiences working remotely in different parts of the world, including their best places to work from and some of the challenges they face along the way. The first person we'd like to hear from is William, who's been working remotely for over 2 years. So far, he has traveled through 14 countries and currently is in Nicaragua. William works as a freelance software developer and graphic designer. He says, "My average day as a remote worker varies a lot depending on where I am and what projects I am working on. It usually involves catching up on emails early in the morning while enjoying a cup of coffee. Then I start my actual work, which could range from developing web applications to designing marketing materials. Depending on my time zone, I often hop on calls with colleagues or clients throughout the day, which really helps me feel connected, even when I'm solo traveling. Lunch is usually a time for exploration, discovering local cuisine, or simply relaxing in a park. And in the afternoon, I get back to work, taking advantage of the quiet and solitude to really focus. As the sun sets, I might work some more, or I might stop and go out for dinner, meeting new people or checking out a local event." William finds that his productivity levels depend heavily on the environment. He explains, "Some of his best places to work from have been Thailand, Colombia, and Portugal, praising their reliable internet, vibrant communities, and high quality of life." On the other hand, he also shares some of the struggles he faces, saying, "I've also faced challenges in countries like India and Nepal, where unreliable internet made it difficult to get work done." However, he remains optimistic, emphasizing that these challenges are part of the journey, and he continues to explore new destinations. Each country comes with its own set of advantages and disadvantages, and part of the fun is in discovering what each place has to offer, he concludes. Next, we wanted to know how others balance their work with their love for travel. So we reached out to Anna, who's been a digital nomad for the past 3 years. She works as a content writer and virtual assistant, and she's currently based in Vietnam. Anna says, "A typical day for me starts with a few hours of focused work while sipping some Vietnamese egg coffee. The rest of the day is usually filled with work calls and tasks related to managing social media accounts for my clients. As a virtual assistant, I also assist with scheduling appointments, handling customer service inquiries, and conducting market research. When I'm not working, I love to explore Vietnam, whether it's trying out different cafes, visiting historical sites, or indulging in delicious street food. I find that the combination of a bustling work schedule and the opportunity to explore new places keeps my days exciting and fulfilling." Anna mentions that she chose to become a digital nomad because she wanted to combine her passion for writing with the freedom to travel. She says, "I've always been passionate about writing, and I realized that becoming a content writer would allow me to work remotely and independently. It took me a while to find my niche, but once I did, I haven't looked back since." When asked about the advantages and disadvantages of being a digital nomad, Anna says, "Being able to work from anywhere in the world is an incredible privilege. I've had the opportunity to experience different cultures, meet new people, and broaden my perspective. However, there are also challenges. Working remotely requires a lot of self-discipline, and it can sometimes be difficult to stay motivated and focused when there are so many distractions around. Another challenge is maintaining a work-life balance. When your work is your life, it can be tough to disconnect and relax. But overall, Anna says that the advantages definitely outweigh the disadvantages, and she would untrade this lifestyle for the world." Another person who shared their thoughts is David, who's been working remotely for a little over a year. He works as a social media manager, and he's currently located in Indonesia. David says, "My workday can vary quite a bit. Usually I start my day by checking in on my clients' social media channels, looking at analytics, and responding to any urgent messages. From there, I start working on content for the week, whether it's writing captions, creating graphics, or scheduling posts. I try to take breaks in between to check out a local cafe or just relax on the beach. In the afternoon, I get back to work, usually focusing on client proposals or strategy meetings. My evenings are usually filled with freelance work, helping friends with their businesses or attending networking events. David decided to become a digital nomad after realizing that he didn't want to be tied down to a traditional office job. He says, "I wanted to have the freedom to travel and work from anywhere in the world. Becoming a freelancer gave me that freedom, and I haven't regretted it." He finds the most rewarding part of being a digital nomad is the flexibility to work from anywhere in the world. David says, Indonesia has been amazing for digital nomads because of the fast internet speeds, affordable cost of living, and warm climate. However, he also points out some challenges, saying that dealing with different time zones can be difficult when working with clients around the world. He also misses the social aspects of working in an office. But overall, he feels that the advantages of this lifestyle far outweigh the disadvantages. And finally, we wanted to hear from someone who's been working remotely for an extended period of time. So we reached out to Sarah, who's been working remotely for 5 years. She works as a project manager and she's currently based in Spain. Sarah says, "My day as a remote worker is typically packed. I start my day with a quick yoga session, followed by a strong coffee, as I catch up on emails and plan my day as priorities. Since I work in project management, a big part of my day is spent collaborating with teams via video calls and messaging apps. I also try to squeeze in some time to work on my Spanish, either by reading local news or practicing with a friend. When I'm not working, I love exploring Spain. I've lived in various cities, and each one has its own charm. Recently, I discovered a beautiful hiking trail, and it was amazing to connect with nature after months of working remotely. For me, the perfect day ends with a nice dinner and a glass of wine as I reflect on the day's accomplishments and plan for the next one." Sarah decided to become a digital nomad because she wanted to break free from the monotony of her previous lifestyle. She says, "I was working a traditional job and living in the same city, and I felt like I needed a change. Becoming a digital nomad allowed me to work from anywhere in the world and see new places. At first, it was challenging, but now I can't imagine going back to a regular job." She finds a sense of freedom and independence the most rewarding aspect of being a digital nomad. Sarah says, "Knowing that I can work from anywhere in the world and set my own hours is incredibly empowering. It's also rewarding to be able to travel and work at the same time. Being able to experience new cultures and meet new people while working is a unique perk." As we wrap up our conversation with Sarah, we ask her about the biggest challenges she's faced. As a digital nomad, she says, "Staying connected to friends and family back home can be tough. It's important to make an effort to stay in touch. Otherwise, it can feel like you're completely disconnected from your support system. It's also essential to stay motivated and disciplined when working remotely. There are always distractions when you're traveling, and it can be challenging to stay focused." However, Sarah emphasizes that the advantages of being a digital nomad far outweigh the disadvantages, and she would untrade this lifestyle for the world. So, there you have it, folks. A glimpse into the world of digital nomads through the eyes of those who live it every day. We hope you enjoyed hearing their stories and maybe even learned a thing or two about working remotely. If you're considering becoming a digital nomad yourself, remember to stay connected with friends and family. Stay motivated and keep learning new skills. Thanks for watching.